Hi, I'm Dr. Virginia LeBlanc, the Pivot Maestro, and your corner woman, here to provide truth, transparency, and love in conversation to help you navigate the waters of your life, as well as business, and think without a box. Welcome to Candid Conversations with Doc V, my collaboration with the unprecedented enterprise Win-Win Women, a global movement to reach, teach, and talk with women and girls around the world in 195 nations. Folks, as a woman heals, the earth heals. Our mission is to care, connect, and collaborate with 3.9 billion women worldwide so all can enjoy a level of excellence in every area of their lives and be more joyful, fulfilled, and financially secure. We care by loving and inspiring all women. We connect as we teach and talk together. We collaborate to grow successful businesses. And to that end, that's what Candid Conversations is all about. It's where we have real talk about real experiences and circumstances. It's our norm and not the exception to help you heal, rebuild, and transform your life from the inside out to put you back in business and on the road to defining your paths. What is my why, ladies? My why and motivation is to provide a safe haven for validation of your experiences and challenges in life for women, thought leaders, change agents, legacy builders, and purposed entrepreneurs, and to provide hope and freedom in your thinking and being so that you may be your own boss in mind, body, soul, and business to live that life and lifestyle you were meant to lead. All are welcome to the conversation. We often have our wonderful, loving, supportive men join us. The topics focus on women and our issues that we face every day in life, the workplace, career transition, and business. On Candid Conversations, it's our intention to always take you on a journey of revelation, reconciliation, and renaissance, having one mission in mind to help you define your path. And one message, ladies, you are mission essential. Yes, even as a woman, because you are grace under pressure every single day, day in and day out, and the world needs you. It needs your voice. So this month, we're enjoying the company of my good friend and colleague in the Defining Paths movement. Let's welcome the Queen of Equality in Tech and retired U.S. Naval Officer, Ms. Trina L. Martin, to the show. Welcome, Trina. Welcome back to Candid Conversations.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation tonight.
Absolutely, sis. I really appreciate you being my guest this month and just the deep dives that we're doing on the thought of leading from the soul with integrity, And in our last conversation, we spoke about human tendencies to seek out easy money or fast cash, which usually isn't easy. It entraps us, it places limitations on us, and keeps us from reaching our potential and true purpose. So this week will help us connect the dots on the why, why we seek the easy, the fast option. And it's all rooted in facing our fears, the fear of being different, the fear of being anything but normal and an outcast, outcast from society. So time for real talk, sis. So turn up the hot seat on you, Trina. It's all you. What are your thoughts just kind of about some of these preliminary things I've thrown out?
Oh my goodness. So fear is a good one. And I think we have to go back to the comparison thing. And everyone compares themselves to someone else. Like, oh, well, they're here in their business. I should be there. Or they're there. I'm going to try to get there. So I think in that effort to try to be somewhere where we shouldn't be, because we're right where we're supposed to be. We're in the season that we just are supposed to be in. And I think in an effort to try to go on our own terms, we ended up seeking out fast cash, things to happen quickly. And it just doesn't happen that way. Our timing is not the timing that it's supposed to be. And I have to admit, I've been a victim of that where I'm like, oh, it should be happening faster. It should be happening faster. I want this. I want this. And, and I think if we just do follow our path and go along, we don't have to worry about that. The comparison, the fear, trying to make things happen fast and get the quick, the fast, the easy, all of that is going about things just completely the wrong way.
Yeah, and how exhausting is that? Because truth be told, these last 2 quarters, we're what we're now in the fourth quarter of the year, and I've been struggling, girl. I'm not even gonna lie, a little bit. I've been exhausted, and I've been going through this process of just, again, being true to me. We had a bit of that conversation last week, and realizing, that for a large part of my entrepreneurial career, really until I met my honey, I was kind of chasing those models. It was like, I even wrote a book about loving the skin that I was in, but we can be cognizant on a certain level, but unconscious on another level of what that looks like for us and what it means, and it's evolutionary. So, it's this last bit of these last 2 quarters, we've been in this process of revamping our business and, preparing for our merge, also our union.
Mhm.
And it has been so freeing and so refreshing to, one, sit back, face that fear that, okay, yeah, I had been doing this, it hadn't gotten me where I wanted to be. And it's okay to pivot, it's okay to change course correct, and embrace who I am and being anything but normal, not
Right.
having to be a clone, and it's yeah, girl, because look, cloning has been exhausting
It
and
is very
expensive.
exhausting. That too. It is very exhausting. It's very expensive. And I'm just like you. It's the same thing. And we've had these conversations, personally, but just being who I am, doing what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to do it in the timing, instead
Yeah.
of trying to keep up with the Joneses,
Mhm.
so to speak, and saying, well, I should be there faster. I should be there now.
Yeah.
Why isn't it happening for me? It's happening for this person. It's happening for that person. And I've just kind of let go of that. And I'm like, you know what? I can
Yeah.
only do what I can do.
Mhm.
So I'm going to do the things that I need to do to build this business, to do the things I'm supposed to bring the right people
Mhm.
into my business that I
Mm.
can do business with, that I want to do business with, and that they want to do business with me. Because we both know, all money is not good money. All
Right.
clients are not good clients. So rushing to compare ourselves to someone else and get that fast money, yeah, it
Mm.
may be fast money, but what what is the cost? And
Yeah.
I always try to look at things like that. What is the cost? Yeah, it may be fast, but you may end up being with the client from hell, someone that you're
For
just like,
real.
oh my gosh, I just want to get rid of this person. But
Yeah.
because you figure, oh, well, I'm getting paid, I have
Mhm.
to endure working with this person. And, nobody wants that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's taking, like you said, taking that time out, taking that step back, thinking about
Yeah.
who you are, what your purpose is, what are you doing, how you want to go about it
Mhm.
smartly with
Yeah.
intention. That's kind of what I've been focusing on.
Yeah, yeah. Because when we're on that other path, it's at the cost of our individuality, our originality. And then, like I said at the top, those confines and constraints that we're working within, that don't come from our soul. They're not, and therein we're not leading with integrity.
Right.
So that word integrity is a huge word, and we can look. We break that down a little bit more next show. Um, but it's there's so many pieces to that. It's integrity of word, it's integrity of of your calling, what you're doing, how your stance, but I say embrace it, embrace being
Mhm.
anything but normal, because that's where your power, that's where your superpower and purpose lie. It's those outliers, who live inspired, who break the chains and barriers and, change the world and leave a legacy, don't you think?
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. And as you were saying that, I was thinking, yesterday in church, my pastor had the sermon and he was saying, so similar to what we're talking about, how, he was doing things that he had never done before, didn't have the experience, and he
Yeah.
was all flustered about it. But then someone told him, he said he was looking at it from a standpoint of, okay, this is going to be a failure. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm in a place where I shouldn't be. And someone said, your discomfort is your opportunity, basically.
Yes.
So I was like, you know what? That's so true. So the things that make us uncomfortable and that we think, oh my, am I equipped to do this? Should I be doing this?
Yeah.
That's what we need. That's our opportunity. That's our time to really do what we need to do, because we have what it takes. It's just we doubt ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Girl, look, and that doubt, that's a huge word.
Mm-hmm.
That is a huge
Yes.
word. Actually, I think I might have a note about a question related to that, or maybe that should be like, we got to extend this conversation because we're just coming up with all these these key words that we could just keep diving deeper and deeper on. But let's talk about this thought about outcasts. And really, doubt is kind of tied up in that, and just the whole label, it's used to describe, a person or people who've been rejected from society or cast out of social groups or whatever. But outliers have always been feared because of the subconscious introspection that it causes in an individual, that reverse commentary on the norm and what's normal, influenced by society. And then
Right.
it's also tied to our upbringing and cultural and religious beliefs and and other programming. And really that's where we fear what we don't know. We fear what looks different, because then we start to question our existence and who we are and what we're doing. And then that gets uncomfortable, right? So then, we have to put a label on it or lash out or call that, that thing or person or whatever that's anything but normal, that it has that negative stigma attached to it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting, the outcast. And most of the time, like you said, the outcast, the outlier is not really that. It's just what someone else has deemed to call it. So if you don't fit into someone else's little box, then you're outcast. If you don't follow the clique, if you're not part of the group, the club, then you're an outcast. But you know what? I think I've been an outcast all my life,
right.
Honestly. Because, and I was thinking about this the other day, and it's so, it's so interesting because I'm 51 years old, and I was like, wow, who am I? Who am I really? And I started thinking, I was like, I think in my 20s and my 30s, I think I had a better understanding of who I was. And I think as I got older and the doubts and, whatever set in, I started losing that. But then last week I started thinking, I was like, I have never been one to go along with the status quo, and I haven't. And that's, again, that outcast, right?
Yeah.
Not going, but I made it a purpose. I made it a point of not doing that, which that's me. That's who I am. I never go with the status quo. I'm always going to speak up, whether it's popular, whether it's liked or whatever, because my thing is, as long as I'm telling the truth, what can you do to me? And I'd rather stand in my truth and not go with the status quo or be that outcast or that outlier, but stand for something and believe in that than being part of the clique and the crowd. And you're with a whole bunch of people who, are all on their little, short bus together.
Yeah. I like that. On that short bus. So, okay, so let's go here. I'm gonna take a little bit of a diversion of where my thoughts were today, but we'll circle back. But the fact that you said what you just said, and knowing your background, particularly your career, your service in the military for almost 30 years or somewhere thereabout, how does that play in? How does that fit in? Because, we have an audience, from the military community, and a lot of those who are transitioning out and, who are veterans who are out there, thinking about going on that purpose entrepreneur track. How did that play out for you in service? How did you maintain your individuality with the mindset and conditioning that has to happen and occur within that structure?
You know, what I did and what I made a purpose of doing the 30 years that I served was being just that, being true to who I was. And it was
Mhm,
funny because, of course, 9 times out of 10, it wasn't popular, but
mhm,
it was good for me. It was good for my people who I was there to lead. And,
mhm,
you know, and funny enough, the people that I was there to lead loved how I was
mhm.
because they knew, I guess they were getting the rawness of me. You know, I wasn't going to pull their leg. I wasn't going to tell them something was great when it wasn't. And I think that's what people look for. People look, going back to integrity and
Yeah.
things like that that we've already spoken about. I think people look for that. They look for that honesty, that rawness that
Mhm.
they can see and feel comfort in that instead of you trying to make everything all rosy and you're
Mhm.
telling them something that really is not true or um yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's skewed. So I always try to think of think of it as okay, I'm serving, I want to be authentic, and those that I'm leading, I want to be authentic with them and always let them see that and tell them the truth.
So it doesn't matter like what field, what industry, or what you bring. It's literally a personal decision that you have to make internally.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you know, and I remember, you know, being in the military and actually speaking out like against higher ranking people and telling them, nope, you know, not going to do that, not going for that, whatever. Um, because that's just who I am. You know, my thing is if it's unfair, if it's not right, I'm
Mhm.
going to call it out. I just, me as a person, as Trina, I just cannot go along with things that I know are just not right. Whether it's going to benefit me or not, it's like, okay, well, that's not right. We shouldn't do it
Mhm.
that way. Or, you know, you should take a different perspective at that.
Mhm.
And people don't, of course, people don't like that. People don't like to be challenged. People
Mhm.
don't like the person who's going to go against the grain. But I think it
Mhm.
was President Lincoln, he was the one who had a cabinet of not only the people who liked him, but people who didn't like him because he knew as a leader that he
Mhm.
needed that other voice. And
Mhm.
that's how you make those accurate and those hard decisions. Not you
Yeah.
don't want a whole bunch of people who just think like you know,
Yeah.
again, you know, talking about outcasts, you don't want the people who look like you, think like you, we're all in the same boat together
Mhm.
because then you're not going to get the whole picture when you need to come when it comes to making a
Yeah.
crucial decision. So you need some of those people who are different, don't look like you, don't think like you, maybe the naysayers, maybe the people who are going to challenge what you're thinking so that you can think about it, you know, more strategically.
Mhm.
And I just think in the world today, we don't have enough of that. I think if you're the
Yeah.
outcast or the outlier, people
Mhm.
don't want you.
Yeah, yeah. I love what you just shared because, something that was just continuously spinning in my head is the fact that you've managed to find and achieve success within, the military as well as the civilian structure by still leading with integrity, being who you are, and leading from that soul, not allowing your soul to be compromised because of other people's thoughts or beliefs. Or yes, you're in a hierarchy, right? So there's respect,
Right.
right, to hierarchy or what have you. But, you know, truth to power is something that more and more of us need to stand up to and be about. Because this, I don't want to get into political conversations and all that type stuff, but when we don't speak truth to power, we don't exercise it in, our power, whatever that is, to correct, wrongs, whether it's in
Right.
business and life, you name it. You just saw a backlash, what over in, well, I am kind of going to get a little bit into politics because my honey is British. Well, you
Hmm.
just saw a backlash on the prime minister in the
Right.
UK, when, there was some integrity lost there, unfortunately, and some backpedaling, and people view that as a lack of integrity, and they don't want that.
Right.
So, and it's happening all over, on the smallest levels to the highest
Yeah.
levels. So, I love the fact that you've been successful and that you are so true to who you are and you speak your mind. So, when you think about it, it's quite ingenious when you think about just the conditioned mind. And we don't even realize it. We've been
Mm-hmm.
programmed, we've been conditioned through life. And, it, intentioned or unintentioned, it's just a part of how we grow, how we develop, and until we have that jarring life experience, like both you and I have had many,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we believe so long that we're in sync, we're plugged into the matrix, and that our routines, our behaviors, our thoughts are correct and healthy and normal, and negating that whole need or desire to question life and why we are truly living it.
Right.
But the freedom when you come out on that other side, when you unplug the matrix, you guys can
Yeah.
tell I'm a Matrix fan, right? When you unplug that bad boy, it's jarring, but it's freeing, because then it's the world is your oysters,
But in that, even though I've done that all of my career, I had to pay the price for that too.
Mhm.
So a lot of people are not willing to pay that
Mm.
price. I
Speak on
was
it.
willing because I didn't care. When it came down to it, it was like, no, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I stand for.
Mhm.
But you got to be willing to pay the price. There's always a price to pay. And that's the thing. Yeah. And a lot of people don't operate in integrity because they're not willing to pay that price that goes along with it. It's easier to go with the crowd and to be liked and to be the, good old girl, good old boy, get that pat on the back.
Mhm.
And that's what people want. Me, I really didn't care because, like I said, I've never been the status quo person. I've never been the person who had to have a lot of um, people around me or be in the gang, so to speak. But yeah,
Mhm.
I had retaliation because of that. I had backlash because of that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because at one point I was calling myself the Phoenix Rising because I'm like, yep,
Girl.
as hard as you guys try to take
Right.
me out, I still come back.
Girl, look, you know what? Truly, we are kindred spirits, because I often liken myself to that, and that's actually one of my favorite symbolisms. But yeah, no, I've been there, done that, right? Speaking truth to power, and then you find yourself in these hostile work environments, discrimination, and
Mm,
retaliation, and you name it. But I so many people use the excuse that, well, they're not willing to pay the price. Let me say that instead of excuse. They're not willing to pay the price because the thought is, okay, I have a family. What will my husband say? What will my wife say? All of this. But you had all of that,
yep.
and you still managed to raise phenomenal children, build a life, have a beautiful home, careers, you name it. And now you're on this entrepreneurial track. So for me, I mean, you kind of like you shoot a hole in that theory or in that thought.
Yeah. And that's the thing, when you stand for something, right? And like I
Mhm.
said, there were rough patches, at one point I was coming against so many different attacks, that
Mhm.
hostile work environment, wondering, am I gonna make it? What's going to go on? Am I gonna come in tomorrow and they're gonna tell me, like pack your stuff and go?
Mhm.
But I never wavered. And I think when you're up against opposition like that, when they see that you're not going to fluctuate, it makes it harder for them
Yeah.
because when they're attacking you, they're waiting for you to crumble. They're waiting for you to
Yeah.
fall. But when you are like, okay, keep hitting me with your best shot. I'm going to keep like, I'm going to keep going. Okay. Pretty soon they're going to say, okay, is she crazy or what's going on? Because everything we've tried to do to her is not having any effect. And that's
Right.
why I said, I'm the Phoenix Rising because, and,
Yeah.
and I would just laugh at them,
Yeah.
and it's funny how things work out because I had this one circumstance where, yeah, I was being attacked by, a first and second line supervisor,
Mhm.
and they were doing their whole thing, right? And they ended up calling like someone in executive management over all of us in this meeting, right, with me. Basically, they were trying to, you know what they do, you know, they bring other people and try to attack me.
Yeah.
And I still was myself speaking the truth. And you know what the executive management told them? Leave her alone. Leave her alone. Stop bothering her. So they really did me a favor because they were attacking me, trying to make me seem like the bad person, and it ended up turning around and backfiring on them.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. You know, because when you're operating with that truth, transparency, and love, you know, there's power in that. Yeah. So let's keep going because there are a couple more things I want to get in, and you know, our time moves. But two of my favorite quotes. One, "The Road Not Taken" by Robert Frost is actually a poem, but my favorite part of that poem when he talks about two roads diverge in the wood. And I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. And then the quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson: "Do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." So, you know, when I think about these two, they have truly been like guiding lights in just like my diversification and my entrepreneurial endeavors, even while, you know, I was doing the parallelpreneur thing. And I love the fact, like, when you find yourself in a situation, you know, where you might be on the workforce and people are, you know, treating you some kind of way or what have you, having options to fall back. And, you know, and this is one of the things that we're trying to educate people about. You know, I believe everybody should have a side hustle, should have a business, right? You know, and because one, there are all kinds of benefits to it, but two, it gives you choice. It allows you not to operate in, you know, that place or from that place of fear that paralyzes and causes you to suffer your own health and wellness by staying in an environment that doesn't care for you, that doesn't support you, and, you know, that treats you any kind of way. How do you feel about that? Or what are some of your kind of final thoughts and advice about all of this?
You know, I totally agree about that. And you know what? And some people like working their job. Some people like their job, and that's great. So everyone is not meant to be an entrepreneur. But yeah, if you have a side hustle, even if it's nothing but, you know what, hey, I like baking cookies. I make these bomb cookies, and I make these cookies and I sell them, whatever. I think that's always great because again, it's getting you away from that workplace landscape. You have an outlet, you have something else. And again, you don't know what's possible. You don't know what that may turn into, but just, you know, because my thing is and someone said this, it was like, okay, if you work, you're working, you're building somebody else's dream.
Yes.
You know, so that's what you're essentially doing. Every day you go to a job, you're punching a clock, you're building somebody else's dream. And when I thought about that, I was like, yeah, well, why should why am I building somebody else's dream when I have a dream? You know, I got a vision. So, you know, you got to decide, you know, do you want to continue building someone else's dream? Do you want to build yours, or do you want to at least have a security of going for your dream, even if it's not full time? Like I said, everyone is not, you know, everyone's not meant to be an entrepreneur. Everyone doesn't want to be. There are people out there that love their jobs, but at least you have an option. You have that option of doing something different.
Girl, and look, mic drop on that. Trina, girl, again, where does the time go with you? I want to thank you for being our guest on the Canvas Conversations hot seat. And, you know, we look forward to having you back next week for our Halloween show. So, girl, let's get dressed up, right? Let's give the folks a show.
Yeah, I'll put on my Catwoman suit.
Girl, all right. So, audience, I hope you've enjoyed Real Talk with Trina Martin and myself. Be sure to tell a friend about the life-giving and changing conversations we're having right here on Candid Conversation. And be sure to go back and watch this episode to help you in your call to action. And here it is. Ponder this and answer in truth, transparency, love, and with space for grace for yourself. Is your fear of being different stifling your growth and keeping you from pivoting? So think on today's revelations, reconcile them with the path you're presently on, face your fears, and make moves, folks. It's time for your renaissance. It's time to redefine and shine unapologetically. So if you're ready to be the captain of your fate, master of your soul, come and join our Boss Nation by going to definingpaths.online and define your path. Defining Paths, our partners are all here to serve you. We are a family who sees and cares about you. We love you. We serve from the heart and lead with integrity to put you back in business. So if you're ready to take your business online or need to resuscitate it, check out our 90-day turnkey solution, True Vision. If you're a woman leader dealing with or has dealt with hostile and discriminatory work environments and need to exhale, join us on one or both of our 2023 retreats at Isla Mujeres, Mexico and Crete, Greece. And if you've been seeking a safe haven, folks, inspiration and or personal betterment, welcome home. Thanks for spending time with us. We do not take it lightly. Be sure to come back. And folks, jump into one of our DP communities. Stay plugged in by following us on social media at Pivot Maestro and on our new podcast, Define Your Path. Go check that out on any platform. We'll see you next week. And until then, what is our mantra, ladies? Strong is the new sexy. So be strong in mind, body, soul, and business. Define your path and love the skin you're in. I'm Doc V, the Pivot Maestro. This is my girl, Trina L. Martin, the queen of equality and in tech. And we're always going to be your corner women. So we are our sister's keeper, and we'll see you next week.